Cutting me up like a knife and I feel it deep in my bones. Thinking I have, but I love even harder. You wanna know? I just wanna dive in the water with you, baby. We can't see the bottom. It's so easy to fall for each other. I'm just hoping we catch one another.
Oh la la, just be careful, la la. Love ain't simple, la la. Promise me no promises. Oh la la, just be careful, la la. Love ain't simple, la la. Promise me no promises.
Baby, I think about you and I feel it deep in my heart. Maybe we just take it to be something that we are. Ooh, I just wanna dive in the water with you, baby. We can't see the bottom. It's so easy to fall for each other. I'm just hoping we catch one another.
Oh la la, just be careful, la la. Love ain't simple, la la. Promise me no promises. Oh la la, just be careful, la la. Love ain't simple, la la. Promise me no promises. Promise me no. 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 Promise me no promises. no holding me back. Ain't no pulling me down. Ain't no knocking me down. Ain't no taking me down. I'm lightning fast.
As we have one flanking player from the T side. Now they pincered the site from two sides, but one of the other Ts just falls way too fast. Now it's just a 1v1. He rushes sandbags, but he pays for it. Zephamos catches him out. Just on Blake.
Kip with the Wandeek from Connector.
And we are live once again with Ryze versus 4TheTeam. Personally, I've not seen 4TheTeam play thus yet, but I've seen Ryze play plenty of times, and yet we have one player missing from the game, so we're going to have to wait a little bit. But Ryze expected to win this time around in the tournament, with most people watching the stream actually watching them personally, but 4TheTeam with some impressive plays previously. They've played some rather unselected maps in the past, and they tend to be a little bit of an underdog, naturally, but we like seeing those underdog matches. Robbie running down Ivy, meeting Bob Handy over to the right-hand side. He gets a headshot peeling away as he's going over to Train, and Creativity gets the trade, but Kip, just the four-way trade there. Everybody dying, but everybody trading each other off. And Robbie is the only one that round without a kill. And since the last player on Ryze actually spawned in later than everybody else, 4TheTeam couldn't even manage to clue in as to where either of them were going to be. And I didn't even expect one of those CTs to spawn in the first place, but Ryze with that first round against 4TheTeam, and now Kip throwing that smoke to block their rush, but lack of creativity, just rushing right through. But he peels back, making sure that he's not overextending those lines, hits Bob Handy for 70% of his HP, which forces him to go up to the ladder, but he predicts it, and he's scoping in for it, but he misses the second shot. Now Robbie has to finish up what his teammates started, and Kip is the last one alive. Can knock down both of these players to a decent amount of their HP if he isolates Robbie, which he does. Now it's just a 1v1, but he's against a scout in a long-range position. It's not gonna bode well. That FAMAS just doesn't reach all the way over to Ivy, and lack of creativity winning the first round for the team. It looks like we're in for an even match thus far. And lack of creativity keeping that scout. He doesn't want to waste too much of his money buying an AK against what is obviously just going to be two deagles. And we have one scout, one Galil, which if the CTs pick it up, it's not going to be too useful. Oh, he could have just wall-banged it to the right, but he's holding off on that shot because he doesn't want to reveal the scout in his hands, and Bob Handy taking up that vertical position like he's playing on Rialto. It isn't going to work out too well as he gets that Wandeek, or rather triple deek. Oh, both of the Wandeeks coming from both players on Ryze. Kip, ever so nasty with the deagle. We've seen him on Cobblestone before. He was just one-tapping everybody coming through drop, one-tapping everybody coming through long. He is nasty with it. Now Bob Handy gonna have to be using a scout once again. This scout just trading hands. Once you get the taxes into the government, they're just going everywhere. You don't know where it's gonna be. One of these CTs playing real close, and he's paying for it. Lack of creativity, taking both of them out with the SG. Didn't even have time to flip over to him. As 4TheTeam, back-to-back gameplay against both of these teams, and they're playing with some rather unused guns. We haven't seen these guns being used all the time in these tournaments. We have a Galil, an SG, there's no AKs, and we have one FAMAS coming from the CT side. Both of these teams don't want to be using the higher quality guns, because if they drop it for the other team, then it's going to be an advantage. And Robbie, with the profile picture that just says Robbie CSGO, he's definitely playing some CSGO right now, and kept getting taking out both of these Ts, taking out both of the CTs near instantly as soon as they go out onto the site. They don't even have time to take a position. It is the nastiest play. Here we go. Some AKs coming out from the T side. And the CT side doesn't even have a chance. Doesn't even get the chance to buy anything. One deagle with body armor and one P250 buying up to $2,000, which makes it a little bit more feasible to buy a rifle. Bob Handy now peeling off to the bomb train, and Kip peeking out through connector. Nasty Wandeek once again. Well, he misses that second Wandeek as Robbie must have crouched, must have messed up his aim quite a bit, but this P250, every single time I see this P250 on an eco round, it just shreds through people. But it might be not as lucky for Bob Handy, but he picks up the SG, so he has a better gun to be contending with, but no body armor whatsoever. And this T just sees some peeking out E-Box, gets the AK spray, corrects it. After he shot that first shot, it was just going all over the place, so he had to readjust it as soon as he was shooting. And Robbie with full armor, full utility, an AK with a really expensive skin, I'm sure. And lack of creativity behind that SG with full armor and utility as well. Both of these teams have full armor, but the CTs have less utility to work with, so they're gonna have to rely on hiding behind objects, making sure the Ts don't just run out and one-tap them instantly. Sees him in connector, but doesn't look over to him. Now he gets it. The SG with that clean one-tap, but the other CT just... Oh, the trades on the CT side are just not coming, but the trades on the T side, they're just coming in droves. Every single time that they take the bomb site, they find the position of both of the CTs, and they make it so that if one dies, they can just instantly kill the other CT. It is amazing to see them take all of these bomb sites. And Ryze doesn't seem to be expecting any of it as they're running out onto the site, but yeah, again, he's just holding close position, and they're just shredding through them every single time, and the SG getting him through the gap, tries to shoot his feet, but the SG's not that accurate. Now Bob Handy waiting for the bomb plant, but he's gonna find it, and the SG just one-taps him.
Sunshine every day. Pick up every day.
And we are back. We can see Ryze, new uniforms, new Glocks, new strats, hopefully. And they got utility. They've got the pistols to back it up. We got a sticker on that P250. They're rocking hard. And now we have a Glock and a P250 with full armor, I might add. His teammate bought him that gun so he can just rush out onto site and hopefully knock out one tap by both of these P2000s and P250s and USPs on site. P2000 having to work some magic here, getting both of the Ts to confine themselves to that main area. And Bob Handy missing all of his shots, but so is Robbie, except for that one. Now Kip in a 1v2 situation. He's got the Glock, trying to find out either of these CTs and their positions. Robbie, he just doesn't die, getting all those bullets, and now he just gets knifed. Not even the strongest knife, just a light knife, just swiping him like you swipe something on Instagram. And for the team, now getting 7 rounds against Ryze's 2. And if I am correct, yes, Ryze only won the first and the third round on this first map. It is ever so disappointing to see them resign to such a position, but they both have deagles, and they're both running out A main, and they're both trying to get a kill. And lack of creativity trying to just peek them from the longest position possible, and this deagle is going to have a real tough time trying to get any connections, and it does. He's climbing up onto the bomb train, but none of these players are actually hitting any of their shots. And lack of creativity needs to hit one, and he needs to hit one soon because both of them are going to be on site. Yes, Kip
is the last one remaining. He doesn't have a lot of HP, but he picks up a gun, which might do a lot of damage. Yes, he does. Kip takes him out with the MP9, just shredding through him after he gets onto the other side of the bomb train. And now Ryze making some competition here. They've got an SG, they got a Galil, they got full armor, they've got everything that they need, but the CT's not so lucky. They have to go in an eco round. And there's some good deegs coming out on the T side, and let's see if Robbie can replicate it on the CT side. And we know who's good with the deagles on that side. It's definitely Kip, as he statistically has the most kills like that. And Bob Handy jumping over the deagle. You try to use the deegs against the deeg team, and it doesn't work out. And lack of creativity trying to make something work out. He's been playing this scout on top of Ivy every single time, and while he gets Bob Handy, he doesn't get Kip all that much. He's peeking him out, just misses his head as he's peeking out onto the other side of Brown Train. And he misses that shot as well. He just can't connect with any of these shots moving just as he's shooting, which is really messing up his aim. But the Galil doesn't know where to look. He didn't have enough visual on him, so he doesn't know where he's running off to. Peeking out with the pistol, bad timing, and Ryze. Man, they're starting to climb back. They've got the guns to back it up, and they're starting to peek out all these CTs where they least expect it. Bob Handy with the Galil and Kip with the AK. They've got a good setup going on here. And lack of creativity. Again, with the scout, he's just not given up. And we see both of these Ts are now setting up more professionally than they used to. They're starting to set up all these nades. They're starting to throw them onto site. Oh, it doesn't look like it. He went ladder room, but he didn't throw any smokes. He didn't shoot out any of the glass, himself at least. And Kip taking out one. Last one's on bomb site. They're playing a generic Ivy bomb site thing, so they know the other CT has to be on this side of the map somewhere, or he's flanking. Throws a molly in connector, takes him out while he's just standing on the bomb train, and Ryze coming back with the strong 3 rounds in a row. But we can see 4TheTeam has a little bit more money than they did previously, so they have enough to just go ham. And they've got an AUG. Some strange buys going on this game. We got an AUG and an AWP on the CT side, and Ryze with 2 AKs, full utility armor, whatever. Bob Handy be throwing a smoke and a flash, but the flash doesn't quite connect. And now they know that they're setting up from A main. It's no secret, and lack of creativity just misses Kip as he's going out onto E-box, and now he's peeling off. They don't know. He's trying to shoot his feet once again, but it's a little bit more accurate. It gets him for 18% of his HP, and Robbie, now stuck on the bomb site. Bob Handy rushes the wrong place and runs right into the op. Over peaks the Ivy position, and now he has time to plant that bomb. Fake plants. Forces lack of creativity to change position. Now he knows that he's not top of Ivy, because who would be top of Ivy when the bomb's getting planted? And Kip repositioning, trying to find out the CT. Some expert plays, almost dies there. Shoots through whatever the hell that is. Now Ryze. 6 rounds against 4TheTeam 7. Oh, boys, we might be going into an overtime, but both of these CT players wish that they could get some kills against Ryze, as whenever Ryze tries to take the bomb site, they split their push-up on both sides, as most wingman teams do, but Kip seems to be taking a lot of the brunt force when Bob Handy dies. This is going to be another one of those rounds. He's getting sandwiched in possibly 2 positions, although the other CT's taking a more reserved position. Now Robbie's going to really take the brunt force of that flank. He tries to challenge them up front with the P2000, and it just fails completely. Bob Handy makes sure he checks his corners. He's not checking the right corners. Looks over to the right, but lack of creativity. Couldn't get a shot off, but he gets a shot off there. Quick Wandig to take him out. Now he has an AK to face Kip in this 1v1, and he might be able to get 4TheTeam into the 8th round match point against these Ts. Tries to zone in on Kip, but he crouches under a shot. And Ryze with a 7th round. Kip just clutching it out once again. Bob Handy, not his fault that he ran to the CT, but it is Kip's job to seize out that round once again. And now 4TheTeam has to win something. They have both guns that they need, and they have lack of creativity with the op. Seems like lack of creativity is the designated opper for 4TheTeam, which is incredibly strange to see in these tournaments, because thus far we haven't seen anybody dedicating to any gun, really. I mean, we've had dedicated Negevers,
gonna have to face this op, and I'm gonna say the op has not connected a lot of its shots. Both of these Ts, oh well, except for against Bob Handy. And Kip looking in the wrong position. He thought he was going to go up the ladder after he got that kill, as he's done countless times before. But for the team, getting that match point after they lost all those rounds coming up, now they start winning the rounds. And Ryze with the desperation buy. They do have an op, so they might be able to challenge that long-range position. Finally. But Kip and Bob Handy have to figure out something here to face a now solidified defense. Robbie playing aggressive ladder room, and it's not going to work out. He misses against the man, dropping down a ladder. Lack of creativity. The last one alive against both of these T's. Zones in on Bob Handy, trying to 1v1 him. Kip, none the wiser, but lack of creativity, none the wiser either. He crouched past the smoke, and he gets a little bit of a clue as he starts running around the corner, and Kip revealed himself a little bit too soon, and now oh, he's just peeking around the left side of the bomb train. Kip doesn't know where he is. Neither of them know where either of them are, but if he gets visual on the left side of the E-box, all he has to do is run 2 steps over to the right, but he's not taking any chances, dedicating A main. And now both of them are playing the waiting game, not knowing where either of them are. But he does have the bomb, so he has to force lack of creativity out of his position. Here's the bomb sound. Now he has 2 places to look. Gets Kip as he's running around the other side of the bomb train. And for the team, winning this first map of the best of 3. And now we will be going into the second map of this tournament very soon. We will catch you when that happens. With those long-range guns, they might be a fan of that. Whoa! That was a good headshot, Nathaniel, just catching him. Oh. He might go for this ninja defuse. Oh, he has the flash. But the T's aren't peeking into the flash, so they can just spray right through. That's a 10-second defuse. He throws that second flash. He almost has no chance. These AKs are just missing him. He's gonna get the ninja defuse.
And we are live once again, and one player from Ryze is absent once again at the beginning of the round, but Kip is going to have to fare for himself in the beginning, going arch side and peeking strong as he's peeking the mid side here, but none of these T's are rushing because they're waiting. They're doing some good teamwork stuff over here, but Charlie giving up. He's buying all of his armor, and Robbie's going to have to do the same as they're cluing in. This game, no pausing, all action. They're going to have to find out some rush against this one player. All they have to do is wait, because they're waiting for the last player to connect to the game. Some good sportsmanship coming in here.
We like to see it, but Inferno, for those who are wondering, is an okay map. I'd say that it's a mid-tier sort of wingman map. It has its problems occasionally where the T's just decide to double rush a position and then post-plant. It's almost impossible to retake the site if you have a long-range gun. On Train or Rialto or Lake, you have a slightly better chance of retaking the site overall, but man, they're just trying to escape the map and they just can't. Kip still peeking. He's waiting for either of these T's to just give up and realize that the round isn't really going to... Yeah, so both of the T's have decided amongst themselves that the game's just going to go on regardless, and Charlie gushing Kip, which is just checkmating him instantly. And oh, that one tap takes out Robbie, and now it's Charlie in a 1v1. Kip might be able to clutch this out in a 1v2 and get that one round for Ryze. All of his economy, no! Charlie shuts him down, getting the headshot over that box. And these boxes on site are just deadly for anybody trying to do a retake, as if the T's are headshot gods. If they're mini screams, if they are just better than the average person, then they could just headshot you over that box and there's nothing you can do about it. But both of these T's saving, pretty much saving after they win that round. And now Kip can just shred through both of them if he gets a headshot. I'm not too sure what that's about. Maybe they're just handicapping themselves. He only has a USP against this one player on Ryze, which has full armor and an MP9, and he's on site, which means that if they try to rush him, he can just shred through them. He can just destroy them. So Charlie has to pick his angles really well. He has to benefit his USP as he's clearing these corners. Doesn't hit Kip at all. Now he's just down to 9 bullets, and with the USP, if you're down to a spraying situation, that's going to be deadly. 8 bullets. Kip just shredding through both of them. They didn't buy anything that round, and I'm pretty sure they've done that in the past. Once they win pistol round, they just buy whatever they want to, and it doesn't really work out for them. And Kip, once again, technical difficulties, but for the team, doesn't have the benefit of getting any pauses whatsoever. And Kip with the Stat Trek MP9, that might be just season the victory for him. Hopping on top of the box. Hey, Bob Handy joined the match, and now we have an even game here. And Bob Handy, not with a lot of money. I thought he would get all of the money that somebody usually does once they connect to the game, but nevertheless, Charlie and Robbie, some normal names for a change, rushing out onto lane side. Both these CTs expecting it. And that UMP not bode well. He's just trying to peek around the corner. Good trade coming from Charlie. And now it's just a 1v1. Bob Handy doesn't have much. He has a deagle, no armor. He's wallbanging that box position, but the double tap with the deagle. No money, no armor, but he has that deagle and Ryze. That's their team gun right there. They just know how to use it. They go around corners with it. They hard peek it. They can do anything with that deagle. And there's nothing that 4TheTeam can do against it. Now Robbie is the only one on the T side with an actual buy, and yet he has body armor, so it's a little bit of a rock, paper, scissors situation. Good gun, but no armor. Bob Handy hard peeking the corner. Nasty Wandig coming from Charlie, just peeking the angle, getting that pre-fire almost. It was so fast. Last CT. Holding from the pit area. Here's the last T coming from Graveyard, but he doesn't see him. And Robbie not peeking at the right time, not peeking at the right angle, crouching right into Kip's crosshair. And Kip with a double service star. You never screw with somebody with a double service star. And Ryze with 3 rounds against 4TheTeam, and they're trailing a little bit. Robbie doesn't even have a kill against either of these Ryze players, but he has 1 assist, which is good enough. Now Charlie rushing the lane side against this pit player, but Kip knows it and he doesn't want to peek it. That nade only bumping him down to 74 HP, but it might be enough, as you only need 3 opposed to the 4 shots usually needed. Gets out Kip as he's double peeking, and now Bob Handy's against his last T. This last T does have the bomb, but he's over peeking, trying to bump him down to enough HP where he's not too much of a threat. And Robbie, or Charlie, planting the bomb in a rather safe position, but it's rather enclosed as well. And Bob Handy crouch peeking out the right side, didn't even expect it. And Ryze win the 4th round of this game, although they were handicapped in the beginning. They managed to pull it through and win it 4-1, which the delay in the beginning of the game kind of served to the benefit of Ryze, as the T's had forced themselves to rush the bomb site only 20 seconds after end. So it might have given Ryze a little bit more confidence. Or rather, just one player, and kept peeking the top side of Graveyard, taking out both of them as they're rushing out. They didn't throw any smokes, they didn't throw any flashes, they didn't throw any nades, they didn't throw any Molotovs. They just ran out onto lane side and expected both of these CTs to just be standing out in the open like bots. They were holding a really tough position to take out. Robbie still with no kills and still with no economy, and they molly off the lane side, but it doesn't seem like either of these Ts care, and they get the kill, but both of these Ts are bumped down to so low HP, Bob Handy could just spray out randomly onto bomb site and take both of them out. And it almost looks like that's what he wants to do. He throws a molly, though, to try to force out one of them. None of them are playing close, so he unintentionally just mollied himself off. Doesn't see Charlie through the top of that molly. Both of these T's surviving that. I'm not too sure how that happened, but 20 HP and 7 HP post-bomb plant. They still manage to pull it all through. That was a Christmas miracle right there, Bob Handy. I guess screwing himself over with that molly, couldn't even see onto his own bomb site that he was trying to retake. Robbie getting knocked down to 25 of his HP with just one Molotov. That was just a 1v1. They took out the bomb site player, but they didn't take out the pit player, and Robbie cannot move onto the bomb site without taking out Kip, and Kip wide peeking with the headshot. Ryze taking the 6th round for the team with 2. We'll see.
Every day, every day.
Let the music play.
We are back, and one of these CTs named himself to Robbie 1, so he's going to be Robbie 1, and the original Robbie, he's going to be Robbie 2. We got Robbie 1 and Robbie 2 on 4TheTeam, and they're AFK right at the beginning of the round. And pistol round, Bob Handy and Kip now taking up aggressive positions. And both of these CTs are not going to know where either of them are. And Robbie peeking out lane side, but the T is already pushed up all the way, so he's going to be challenged up close with the P2000. And Robbie 1 and Robbie 2 taking out both of the Ts as they're running out onto the bomb site, or at least trying to. And I guess the AFK strat worked. I don't know if it was intentional, but both of the players on Ryze just not expecting it. And now they have $2,100. You know what they're going to buy. That's a double Mac 10 buy. And Ryze Rather, Bob Handy and Kip. It seems like they're spreading out between Arch and lane side consistently over and over and over again. And both of these CTs just shredding through them as soon as they go out onto Arch side and lane. They need some type of nades to sort of clear out those both positions, because if they're challenging them on a corner, it seems like they lose consistently. But Ryze, gonna have to win this map. Keep that in mind as they're rushing all of these positions. They're losing round after round. They have little advantage at this point. Bob Handy just deking out under these shots, up and down, left and right. Bob Handy running out into the headshot. Kip, let's see if he does the same thing. The MP9 runs out of bullets, but that UMP doesn't. Now for the team with 5 rounds against Ryze's 6. The lead is just shrinking round after round as Ryze smashes their head against that mid area. Now Ryze has 2 AKs. It's a little bit more favorable. One of the CTs decides to buy a rifle, which is going to be hopefully beneficial later on in the round. It seems like both of these CTs are just playing really leniently, holding really back, except for that first Robbie. He seems to be a little bit more aggressive, which with the UMP you'd want to be more aggressive, as if one of these CTs catches you out in the open with a UMP long range, you're dead instantly. This isn't the old UMP, this is the new UMP, which has almost no spray. And no damage with that spray. And Kip holding rather aggressively up apps. We'll see what he does with it. He almost saw Robbie 1 push up, but doesn't matter. He just gets headshot off of lane. Now they get that 7th round. Almost fallen off later on, but Ryze getting the round. But we saw it last time. Ryze with the 7th round curse. They won all the way up to the 7th round, and then for the team won every single round after that. We don't want that to happen this time around. We like to see the leads, and we like to see them stay. And the first Robbie peeking with the op. He sees his leg come in, but he gets killed with it as soon as he sees it. Trying to peek out hut side, but now the op is just, oh, nasty peek coming on the boiler room. Both of these Ts dying to 4TheTeam, dying from that one op, peeking out lane side against the pillar. That is a really annoying position if you don't have utility to just clear it out instantly. One Molotov and he has to just run out either left side or right side. Didn't even have to move his legs. He was in control of that situation. Bob Handy in control of his spray. In fact, first Robbie peeking out from the pit side, although it's not the position that he wants him to be in. Kip's molly bounces off the wall. 7th round Ryze. They're just losing all of these rounds coming in. 4TheTeam could seize out this best of 3 right here. They could force a match point against Ryze. We have a Galil and a UMP coming against an op and an M4, and they immediately molly lane side. He runs into his own molly, which is a strat that I don't think he wanted to do. I think he was just trying to take up an aggressive position, takes out Kip from that aggressive position, doesn't get the flick. Oh, Bob Handy almost seized out both of those CT players. He caught them out in the open, and he heard them running through the smoke, but the Galil just couldn't get enough damage. Now 4TheTeam could win this best of 3 right now against both of these Ryze players, both buying Galils, and they almost have no utility. They could win it all right here. We see the utility smoke coming out arch side, and Kip has to contend with not seeing a damn thing. First Robbie gets a first kill, and he almost gets a flick onto the second. Now it's just a 1v1 against this T. The bomb's getting drenched in that Molotov, and Robbie knows exactly where he's going to be coming from. Flashes out lane side, catches up Bob Hammett in the open, but he forces him out into an 8 versus 8. We are going into overtime here. We'll see you after.
Let me be absolutely clear. This is mine, but I'll let you in. Gather round, take a part of it, of me. Wasted life seems to mean the most, but these seconds are valuable. Breathe and change and let it go and breathe.
We are back. First overtime, and The wingman overtimes are quick. You have no time to react, no time to reposition after you lose these rounds. And CT, both sides are just full buying, which is going to be really bad once either of them loses the round, because that's inevitable. But Robbie seizing out one of those Ryze players, just running out into the open, but Kip in a 1v1. Oh, nasty headshot from the M4. Expects him to just peek out. I think that was near just a pre-fire, expecting Kip to just crouch peek around the corner.
Ryze losing the first round of the overtime. 4TheTeam couldn't have been in a more favorable position coming on CT side on this half. Now both of the Ryze players funneling themselves into the death zone here. And the CTs just have to look in one position. They aren't even going apartments, but he's dying after the round. The first overtime is equal. Both of these teams winning one round apiece. Ryze adapted, knew that both of them were going to be lane side and arch side. They would like to go for the trades, but we would like to see some different strats from both of the teams. But the arch side and the lane side setup seems to be the only thing that both of these teams can function with in their brains, as if one CT dies on lane side, you obviously want the other one to either push or fall back. That's the general rule. Kip expecting somebody to come from apps, and he is right. Robbie smoked off. He might have heard some slight footsteps with his $6,000 headphones, but Bob Handy has to contend with now both of the T's not wanting to go on the other side, missing the op as Robbie was just walking out onto the right side of his screen, couldn't get the flick off. Robbie now molotoving off of pit, walking through the smoke on the railing, still gets the kill for the team, now with the advantage on this half of overtime. And if they win this round in overtime, they win the best of three. Now Ryze just draining themselves of money. They could force this second overtime and force a third if they would like to, or they could force a third map if they win this half of it. Robbie running out into the middle of his own Molotov. We've seen that countless times from 4TheTeam. They're thinking one step ahead, but the Molotov is in front of them, so they can't. And now Robbie, and both of these T's actually, just not knowing what to do. They need the pick on either of these CTs to actually get anything done. They're trying to pre-fire any position that they can, but they're not getting any visual on either of these CTs as they're playing real leniently, trying to get both of the 4TheTeam players to just walk into their crosshairs. Oh, just misses Robbie as he's peeking out, but that might have been good as he takes out the op. No visual. Robbie taken out by Kip. We're going into a second overtime here
with Ryze versus 4TheTeam.
Just throw your body in the air.
And we are live once again. Second overtime, Ryze versus 4TheTeam. We're still getting this trading back and forth, but Ryze with the CT placement, that could be really good for them as they seem to be getting the one round loss, then one round win. It was a little bit tighter that time around as Kip had to contend with a 1v1, which he had to save his team from a best-of-3 elimination. Bob Handy holding over to the left. He sees his shoulder peeking out, but he gets the headshot against Robbie through the wall. Now both of these T's, he mollies Bob Handy off, so Kip is going to be isolated on this side of the map, but doesn't seem like they're taking too much of an advantage over it, as they could just rush the site right now, and Bob Handy would be none the wiser, and now he can take up an aggressive position once again. Both of these T's have to contend with it. He's only up on library, so Bob Handy can't full peek, but he can peek just enough so that he can see the bomb site and he can see anybody running over to the other side, and Honda Civic holding it, not letting Bob Handy run out of apartments here. Now Robbie with 16 HP trying to take a bomb site by himself, but he realizes that he has to throw some nades, and he
flashes out pit, which forces Kip to hide. And Honda Civic aggressively peeking out library. Now it's just a 1v1. Kip, usually a master of the 1v1s, but now he's just full peeking an op. And for the team with the 11th round advantage against Ryze. And if it confines to the pattern that we've seen up to this point, Ryze is probably going to win this round as they've full bot on their side. They have an op and an M4. And they're holding both lane side and arch. Once again, Bob Handy missing his op shot, which is not going to be good for Kip. Kip aggressively peeking the molly, reveals his location, and Robbie just getting peeked out there. And now Ryze has to win both rounds on overtime 2 on T side, which is a side which they haven't been too favorable on. I mean, they forced down overtime on T side, but they're not the best on T side to be contending 2 rounds in a row. And thus far, we haven't seen 2 rounds in a row from either of these teams. But Kip aggressively peeking archway, which Robbie hears him running around, but he doesn't know where he's going to be coming from. And Kip gets the better spray, but Bob Handy getting the better kill on the other side of that map. Now Honda Civic contending with Bob Handy. Bob Handy hasn't been in a lot of 1v1s, so he doesn't know what his strat is going to be, but he's hiding out a rather safe library position. Bob Handy didn't get the visual on Honda Civic when he was going into library. Now he's going to be slow peeking, although what other position are you going to be playing with an op? Aggressively peeking with the op now. Just missing the op shot. He couldn't flick fast enough because Bob Handy wide peek in the library position, and Ryze just hanging on here in second overtime. Looks like we're going to be looking at a third as the T's. Well, the T's can still buy a lot of utility, a lot of good guns. Civic, man, that's just brutal. Just aggressively peeks the lane side and gets taken out by Kip, but we got a good trade here. Now it's just another 1v1. Bob Handy this time against Robbie. Both of these players haven't been in a lot of 1v1s, although Bob Handy has a lot of experience from the last one that he played, although it wasn't against the same player. Peeking the wrong side, Robbie gets him as he's not looking the right way. And for the team winning this best of 3, they're going to be advancing. Ryze, see you later.
All I'm seeing is grey, and all I know is I've been dragged down again. I won't linger no more. Been too long in my storm. I'll rise up and embrace the silence and let peace find me again. Cause all I'm seeing is grey, and all I know is I've been dragged down again. I won't linger no more. I've been too long in my storm. I'll rise up and embrace the silence and let peace find me again. Again, 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 again. I've stopped